Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. In this tutorial, we're going to make this really quick and easy watercolor floral tumbler. To get that watercolor effect, we're going to cheat just a little bit and we're going to wrap it with a sheet of vinyl from Gracefully Created. We'll be using a 32-ounce plump, which is my personal favorite from the TIPSY Magnolia. To cut this to a perfect size, rather than having to trim off the bottom, I just wrapped it around the tumbler. I pulled it down just a bit from the top so it exposes a little bit of that stainless for a good seal. And then I marked with my nail at the bottom of the tumbler where my vinyl should fall. Once I have that excess trimmed off, I'm going to trim off a little bit of this backing so that once I have it lined back up on my tumbler, I can press that exposed piece of vinyl down, work my way around the tumbler with my squeegee as I'm pushing the back off. Once I have overlapped my starting point, I'm going to press it down a little bit so I can see the vinyl underneath, and I'm going to cut right in between my starting and stopping point. Now, I knew I was going to be covering this up with some glitter and a decal, so I wasn't too concerned about marking it off, but looks like I did get it pretty straight this time. But I do suggest using some painter's tape so that you can get that line nice and perfectly straight. Once you have trimmed down your starting and stopping point, remove the excess over top of your vinyl and from underneath so you have a nice flat seam. I felt like I got my vinyl a little too close to the top. I really like to see a good bit of stainless there so that I know for sure that I'm going to get a good seal with my epoxy. So I grabbed my vinyl trimmer tool from Cami Page Boutique. I used the extra half spacer that you can grab for these things and trim off a perfect ring around that top rim. I'm going to tape off the bottom, and we're going to be using Rosy Beige from the Crystalite Company to give this a couple of coats of paint so that it blends nicely with our vinyl. Since this is such a light color, it did take 3 coats of paint, but that is simple because I can dry them up so quickly with my heat gun in between each coat. I'm going to be using a little extra ink epoxy turbo to apply my glitter. A little extra ink epoxy, their regular formula, and turbo, which is their fast set formula, are both thinner viscosity epoxies. I would say it's somewhere in between thin and a light and medium viscosity, and that makes it really easy to quickly apply your coats as well as apply very thin coats for glitter application. I am using basically what tiny bit was left over from working on other cups and was able to spread that all around the tumbler, get a very nice and even thin coat. For our glitter application, I did go around the tumbler and pat my hand, and why I do this is to remove any streaking that might be in that epoxy from spreading it so thin. This really helps avoid any lumps, bumps, and streaking whenever you're applying glitter, especially if you're using an opal or if you are using a fine glitter as we are here. This is Baby's Breath from PDB Creative Studio, which is a gorgeous high sparkle fine cut glitter. After my epoxy has dried, I'm going to give that 2 thin coats of epoxy, sanding in between so that it's nice and smooth to add our transfers to. Susanna is the owner of Glamour Tribe Customs, and I have just absolutely loved and adored her work for the past couple of years. She is super talented and she does a lot of floral designs like and if I'm being honest, I normally reach for her floral designs with Southern Belle glitter over mine. And I love this big bundle of flowers. I think I have had 4 total over the last year or so, and it is a huge collection of flowers. If you don't have it, I definitely encourage grabbing it for yourself because it's an easy go-to to add elegance or a lot of flair to a very simple design tumbler. With any of these rub-on transfers, you're going to want to choose the one you want to use or multiple. Cut it off of the sheet, and then you're going to trim off a little bit of that backing so you can press it down once you have it in place on your tumbler. It does come with a little wooden stick, and normally I suggest applying these just as you would vinyl. With the hinge method, press the transfer down as you are removing that backing, but I did cut this one a little crooked, so it didn't want to go over the curve of the tumbler without kind of warping on me. So I did have to pull that entire protective layer off of the back, and I used my squeegee tool to get it nice and flat on my tumbler before I started rubbing it down with our wooden stick. Now you can tell if you do not cover certain areas, so you do want to take your time and make sure you go over all areas of your rub-on transfer with the wooden stick before you remove that acetate sheet off the top. Once you are ready to remove it, very carefully lift it up on the corner and slowly pull it off of the tumbler to avoid removing any of your image. Most of the sheets at Southern Belle Glitter have lots of elements on them as well, so if you have a decal like this and you want to add some extra elements to it to make it a little bit larger, that is absolutely no problem. So I grabbed some of the elements off of out of the bundle, and I'm going to apply them one by one in areas I feel like I want to be a little fuller, cover up my seam, and take it a little bit further around the edges of the tumbler. Once all of your decals are on, it is time to apply epoxy. Now, if you're going to add a decal or a name, whatever, you want to make sure that you put epoxy on prior to adding on your decal. Because if you use transfer tape and it grabs a hold of your rub-on transfer, it can remove it, and we don't want that. So add a layer of epoxy, then you can personalize it if you want. If not, make sure you do 2 layers of epoxy for your final coats so it is nice and protected. I actually made this tumbler quite a while back, and after I applied that first layer of epoxy, I got really excited because I loved the way that it turned out. It definitely needed another coat of epoxy before I did a final video. So I cut this one off short and went and added another coat, and of course I forgot to record another one. So ignore all of those little lumps and bumps over the tumbler. In that video, I did add another coat of epoxy so it is perfectly smooth before I sent it off to its new owner. If you have any questions, you're welcome to drop them in the comments below and I will answer them as quickly as possible. All materials I have used will be listed in the description with some coupon codes for you. That is all for today. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you next time.